Thank you. So, first of all, I'd love to hear from both of you. Your Excellencies, how much of a challenge does this concept of digital well-being present to you?
Thank you very much, and I'm more than glad to be here in this great event, and thanks to ITRA team to host this amazing event. As you know, after the COVID-19, there has been a rapid increase of the use of smart devices. Technology becomes more and more integral to everything that we do. We purchase our things. The smart devices are monitoring our fitness level, our health. AI, machine learning, can learn your habits, so these devices can adjust the settings automatically. We are increasingly turn our lives by dependency on the technology, which is becoming both a privilege and burden in our lives. In my opinion, digital well-being must be taken more seriously and thoroughly considered. Even though digital world brings in many benefits to society, there are a lot of downsides. It causes some threats to our lives, to our children, if not managed well-like. If we talk in numbers here in Saudi Arabia, I can tell you there is a huge opportunity to avoid these threats. We have 96% of total Saudi population uses the internet. We are one of the top 5 countries by utilizing the social media. We are seeing a huge opportunity. I don't like to call it as a threat, so we can shift the threats into opportunity. We can shift our youth from consumption side to production side, and that's what we are doing. We have in Saudi Arabia, if we back to numbers, more than 28 million users in WhatsApp, 31 million users in YouTube. Also, if we talk about the gaming and esports, here in Saudi Arabia, we have more than 4.8 million active users. And I will be back again to what I mentioned. It is a really opportunity to invest by shifting these users from the consumption side to production side.
Interesting. So let's turn to Brazil, Your Excellency. Let's talk about how you think about digital well-being. We've heard a lot of great initiatives, great ideas from civil society. What can the Brazilian government do to promote public policy in this sense of digital well-being?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for this huge event, and I'm learning a lot from you. And we can see that how important is presential
Feels
being,
very personal, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, real life is much more, productive. And also, salam alaikum, that I just learned. And so I just wanted to explain that in Brazil is the first time we have a ministry for the family, and we are promoting public policies for the family, for Occidental family. And we had 3 big challenges, like strengthening family bonds, the work-family balance, and the third one was technology, the impact of technologies inside the family, because we have now 214 million people in Brazil, and 205 have cell phones. Can you believe that? So we have to try to teach them to be prepared to have it, right? So I know that to change a culture, to build a culture, you don't do that from the top to the bottom, but you have to help civil society to do that. But we can help. We can give conditions. And what we've chosen to help, how we've chosen to help was to, form families, to give awareness to the families of what's going on, beginning from like look into the eyes of your children and listen to their hearts, because they are not aware of what's going on. In 3 topics, that would be, first of all, the fragmentation of dialogue inside the family, because really the addiction is not in the children, but mainly in the adults, that they don't leave, when the children go for them to ask something, they keep on looking at the cell phone and even don't look at the eyes of the children.
Yeah.
So, first of all, fragmentation of dialogue. The second, the content the children receive through their cell phones, like self-harm, suicide, pedophilia, selling nude, selling games like children works, games, and this is what happens and they don't know about it. And mental health also. So we brought all these topics to the families so that they could learn a little bit and change their behavior. We launched a program that is called Reconnect and launched it to our 5,727 districts in Brazil.
Right.
We're giving all this information to these families in all districts.
Extraordinary. You may need to come to my family. Let's turn back to Saudi Arabia. And I know that you've been doing a lot around digital citizenship in collaboration with the DQ Institute. So tell us about some of that work and what you're hoping to achieve out of it.
Actually, we are working on several initiatives in this regard. Last G20, we signed an agreement with DQ Institute, which is one of the leading institutes in worldwide. They are focusing on how we can develop such an indices to measure the awareness, how we can empower and protect our children from the threats that we discussed before. We are focusing on digital citizenship by raising awareness on 8 dimensions: cyberbullying, screen timing, digital empathy, digital security, and next June we will be launching DQ World. It's a platform targeting the children. It's an entertainment tool that allow the parents to measure and to see what are the threats that their children are facing. For example, your child you need to invest in your child by raising the awareness on cyberbullying, not to share their personal information, and etc. Also, as I mentioned, we are focusing on providing the needed skills to our children because we have a huge consumption on gaming, and cyberbullying can be a result of interconnection between two players. So we trained, as we speak, more than 100,000 kids on the future skills. For example, boot camps by partnership with Digital Media Academy, DQ Institute, and a lot of key players in that regard.
Fascinating. Let's go back to Brazil. I'd love to know what the results of the Reconnect program were, and what did it mean for families?
Well, the Reconnect is this program. We form public agents and professors, teachers, families, to learn about what's going on, right?
Okay.
And they are prepared and give these courses in their places, like universities, schools, family, municipalities. So, and then they can have this program and prepare other people to do so, right? And the results, what's happening is that we have a national observatory for the family that is following what we have back. And what we had back, besides better dialogues in the family, inside the family, is to prevent risk behaviors. Because as parents are more, with their children and looking and talking, they can notice what's going on. Yeah. So we had in drugs, for example, low down drugs at teenage, and then also another thing is like pregnancy at teenage. We had like a percentage is like 18% less pregnancies after this program, that because of strengthening family bonds. And also one thing that was great, that we had some campaigns like family dinner, and families started to eat together. That didn't happen. Also, another campaign that was intergenerational solidarity, mainly during pandemics, to call your grandpas and grandmas and talk to them. And this was also strengthening family bonds and having this solidarity. That I wouldn't even say solidarity. I think it's love. You have to love your history. You have to have gratitude. It's not all about just having a duty. And that awake on people's heart some charity and mainly love. So we have this result, but in the end of this term of the government, we're going to have all this in data, in the National Observatory for the Family, to show how it's important to reconnect.
Really interesting. Very briefly, I'd love you both to give a call to action for other governments who might be listening. What's something that you'd like to see some partnership on?
Actually, I believe the government entities are ecosystem developers, so they need to empower the community. They need to work hands to hands with NGOs to focus on digital well-being.
Okay. Excellency.
So I would talk to the governments to focus on families, to have a Ministry of Family, that would be great. And also I would tell everyone who is here, to focus on your own family. We just changed the word, changing ourselves, right? So I would ask you to go home from this event with a goal, a real goal. For example, be nice, leave your device, for example. Leave your device when you are with your people at home. Or, for example, I have a motto for me that is stop, look, listen. If I'm with a cell phone and somebody comes, I stop, look, and listen. And if we change a little bit and give an example, we can change the world, really. And a victory in a family is a victory for many others and for the world too. So please choose something, because sometimes we listen to all that and we say, yeah, that happens. And then all of a sudden we are back in our virtual life. So let's go for the real life that's so rich. That's it.
Thank you very much. Help me give them a nice round of applause. Thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.